Just a few days ago, the president signed an executive order that will allow people to invest in private equity and crypto within their 401ks, but private equity is historically way more expensive than index funds, and last I checked, crypto can be extremely volatile. So why in the world would anyone open the door and allow that within your 401k? Well, I have a few answers for you and a few things that you definitely want to know. Let's go ahead and break it down. Let's first start off with the cons of this and then end up on the pros, because yes, there are still some pros here to discuss, but let's start off with private equity. For those that don't know, the super high level is you get a bunch of investment bros together, you buy a small business or a medium-sized business, and you work to improve it and then sell it off. Think of something like Olive Garden or Red Lobster. You try and change the formula, make things a bit cheaper, and improve margins, help them to make more money, and then you sell off to somebody else. All right, you get a bunch of those together and you make a fund, and then you package those things together. That is a private equity fund. All right, now the problem with a private equity fund in the case of a 401k is they tend to be expensive. I'm talking a minimum of about 1%. They can go as high as 3%. Now, if you are comparing this to your basic S&P 500 index fund, we're talking 0.03%. That means that your basic run-of-the-mill private equity fund is 33 times, roughly, 33 times more expensive than your regular private equity. And on top of that, not only are you paying 33 times more for the private equity fund, you're usually not beating the index fund. So you're paying 33 times more and not getting 33 times more money from that fee. You're paying more and getting less. That is not helpful to you. It is not helpful to your 401k. Also, think of it like this. If you're putting 10% into your 401k, but you're paying 1% to private equity, who is that helping? That's not helping you. And also think of something like inflation. That's taking 2 or 3% off. That ain't helping. That ain't helping at all. All right. So a lot of your stuff is getting eaten up if you're talking about a 1% fee every single year, win or lose. So that's not something that is helping you at all. Then you get to the crypto side of this. Now, I am fine with investing in crypto. The issue here, I really have two issues. Number one is how much is okay to invest in crypto. If you ask me right now, my personal limit is about 5%. If you want to go beyond that, that's totally up to you. You go beyond 10%, you wild, son. You calm down, okay? The reason why I say that is a few reasons, but the main one is we don't know all we need to know about crypto just yet. It hasn't been 20 years. It hasn't been 30 years. And we don't have all the answers that we do like we do with the stock market. When inflation does one thing, we know what to do with the stock market. When unemployment does one thing, we know what to do and what stocks to go to. When inflation is high, what do we do with crypto? You don't know. And we saw that in 2022. We used to think, and we were told from the quote unquote experts, but has Bitcoin been around long enough to really have experts in this field? The answer really is no. But the answer is truly no, right? We don't have enough people who have been in it long enough since it was started in 2009, 2010, right? We don't have a body of research truly established long enough for 50 years or 100 years like the stock market does, right? So in either case, the main thing is that volatility. Right. So, for example, last year in 2024, Bitcoin was up 135%. Amazing. Glad I invested in Bitcoin. All right. But also in 2022, Bitcoin was down 65%. That's not great. How many people would have stuck around for a 65% drop in their 401k? The answer is most people would not. And how do I know this? Most people didn't stick around for what just happened in 2025 after Liberation Day. I remember those tweets. I remember those comments of how many people panicked just from Liberation Day in 2025. The stock market is near all-time highs. I mean, what are we talking about here, right? Remember in 2020, right? Just 5 years ago, the stock market dropped just 30% and people panicked then. We're talking about more than double from just crypto, and your 401k is usually your biggest asset outside of your house if you want to count that. Like, once you're done, you are living off of your 401k. Imagine you are 10 years from retirement and it drops overnight, because it is a 24-hour market, 65%. And every 2 to 3 years, crypto does drop 50, 60, 70%. It is prone to doing that. That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, it is good that crypto is becoming more legitimate. It is good, and I would kind of moving towards the pros here, that is becoming more legitimate. I actually like that. The Genius Act, which I did do a video on, you can check out that video here, does kind of help with that. So I'm not totally off the boat with crypto. Again, I still invest in crypto. It's just how much of your money should be in crypto and how much of your 401k can be in crypto. But one more con before we move into the pros is a little scent here that's just slightly on the fishy side. And we do have to talk about the fact that the president does have business dealings in owning a crypto exchange through Liberty Financial. He did launch a crypto meme coin, and that's one thing on the side, but will there be some way for him to profit off of having some crypto arm, some cryptocurrency, both now or definitely in the future, where he now has access for everyone to buy some crypto index in the future, where he now has a $5 trillion market for people to buy into? Is that something that a president should be able to do and be able to profit from? My answer is no. You shouldn't be able to do that, but it's just out there, right? And that is definitely a con, that you shouldn't be able to own a crypto platform and have the ability to say, hey, everybody can also invest in crypto, and maybe there is a meme coin option within a 401k. Now, here's where we get to the pro side of things. It is optional, okay? These options are, well, optional, right? Kind of within the sentence, okay? They're not mandatory. When you go into these options, whenever they are available, they're not going to be available immediately. You have to go in and click what you want and what you don't want. You have to select, or with your financial planner, which you might want to consult in something like this, you have to go through and choose how much in crypto that you want, if it is available to you, and how much you want in private equity, which I probably would not choose, but again, totally up to you and your goals, how much of that you want, okay? And then what index funds or what target date funds, the ones that have the year, 2060, 2040, whatever. You gotta go through and select it. You don't have to choose any of these. You gotta choose something. You don't wanna just choose cash, okay? You want your money to grow, okay? But you get to choose, do you want crypto, do you want private equity, or do you just want regular cheap index funds? That choice is yours, but it is not mandatory. So those are the things that you definitely want to pay attention to. The other good thing is it does add some diversification. Okay, that does mean that, having more available to crypto, not always a bad thing. Okay, so crypto is still up. Yes, it dropped 65%, but if I'm holding crypto for the long term, you'd be quite rich right now. One of my issues, personal issue, might not be everybody's issue, is I can only invest in crypto primarily with extra money. I don't know about you, I don't have buckets of money just laying around, right? If I could have invested in crypto with my 401k, it would have only been with like 0.5% or something like that. But if I got a 6-figure salary and I got about 0.5% I'm putting in, last 5 years or something, that's tens of thousands of dollars at this point that I would have had available to invest in crypto, versus whatever money I have after I paid the bills, after I paid daycare, after, I've smoked a bunch of briskets and ribs and all that kind of stuff, right? I don't have a ton of money left over, versus pre-tax money, right? Money I know I'm putting away for 401k and for long-term investing that I can't touch, right? Because I'm not supposed to touch it until 59 and a half. That might be something that's more attractive and easier because I'm not really looking at that money anyway. So might be something you want to pay attention to. One thing on the con side that I didn't mention, so sorry for putting these out of order because I'm thinking of it as I'm going through. Private equity is also historically not always transparent and not always as liquid as you think. When you think of selling a stock or even selling a mutual fund, you can kind of sell it at least that day or immediately in some cases. Private equity doesn't always work that way. Because sometimes you're locked into it. You can't sell to the end of the year or the quarter or something like that. So if something's not going well or you don't know what the performance is, be aware of that. All right, so just throwing it out there as well. But those are some of the pros. So crypto might not always be as bad. It does add some diversification, especially with private equity. While the stock market might be down, private equity might not, but you are paying a higher fee. Sometimes 33% higher at a minimum. So, I'm sorry, 33 times higher at a minimum. But again, it is not mandatory. And I think that is the key thing. But speaking of what is mandatory and what is not, I would argue that it is mandatory that you learn what else you might want to consider adding to your portfolio. And what is mandatory is that you hit the like and subscribe button and then check out this video next.